Hello, everyone. My name is Ian Walker, and welcome to Walker's Reviews. Here on Walker's Reviews, we talk a lot about gaming. We talk about, well, I guess you could say everything gaming. We talk about the actual games. We talk about what surrounds the games, the communities, and of course, we give reviews. Today, the game that we will be reviewing is a little bit older title known as League of Legends. League of Legends is a MOBA, which is a mobile online battle arena. It released in October 27th, 2009. Its developer, the main developing company, is Riot Games. Publisher Riot Games. The main three directors is Andrew Van Ruin, Steven Snow, Travis George. The main producers of the game: Jessica Nam, Joe Tung, Steven Snow, Travis George. The main designers for the game is Mark Geller, Ryan Ryan Mireless, David Capurro, Christian Norman, Ryan Scott. There is a numerous amount of artists, a numerous amount of writers, and three main composers of the music: Christian Link, Toa Dunn, and Sebastian Najan. The platform that this game runs on, you could say, is Microsoft Windows primarily, and recently it made it to Mac. That's why I'm able to play this and show you all today. Um, this game is a multiplayer 5v5, and the point of the game is to take something called the Nexus. As you can see up here and down here, these are the Nexus. There's top lane, bottom lane, middle lane, and jungle, which is everything, of course, that's not there. But there is a numerous amount of steps in order to just go out and quote unquote take the Nexus. When we get into the game, you will be able to see. But in order to get to the Nexus, you need to get through the turrets, and the turrets are, in a sense, what protects the Nexus. And you have to take on the turrets in whatever lane in order to actually get to the Nexus. And of course, in each lane, you're gonna have someone to fight against, because this is player versus player base. So these are all real people, and we'll be into the game soon. But top top goes top lane, bottom goes bottom lane, mid goes middle lane, jungle goes jungle, and support goes with the bottom lane. And everyone, in a sense, has a role that they need to play, and that's the lanes that they'll try and quote unquote push. And there's certain characters for, well, I'm not gonna say there's certain characters for certain roles, even though there kind of is, but people, in a sense, they, oh, I forgot to change my thing. I'm gonna get to these little things at the bottom here. I was so focused on doing this that I forgot to. Oh god. But there is certain things such as runes, and that's these little symbols at the bottom. And I forgot to change one. And runes, they help your champion on however you play. That's what these main characters are, champions. And they kind of determine what kind of playstyle you're gonna have when you actually get into the game. but certain characters they are good for certain roles, and other characters are better for other things. For example, if you have a bot laner like this one, they may be good at they may be good at doing damage early game, but they're gonna have a smaller quote unquote health pool. So they're probably gonna do hit and run tactics. But there's a lot of depth into this game because you're gonna base your teams off of certain combos or based off what abilities that they have, and I will get into the abilities when we get into the game. It's almost there. But when it comes to my experience with this game, I think that I have a fair amount. I think I got into this game only about 2 years, I want to say, 2 years ago. And um, I just went by my grandma's house and I didn't know what to do during the summer. And then she had a computer, and then I just downloaded this game because it's free, I might add. It's free. So you could just go and play it. But you could just hop right in. You go through the tutorial. The tutorial is pretty straightforward. If you are going to play this, make sure that you have a mouse. It's not even a question. You need a mouse. It doesn't have to be a professional mouse. Just make sure it could right click and left click. I personally use a keyboard, but it doesn't really matter. There's no real preference. Uh, if the game would look, I could get into the actual gameplay of it, and that's what's important. As you can see, there's these little two things right here. Those are called spells. When you go into the game, you are gonna pick two, and you could see that mine, well, for our lane jungle is different, and that's because we use this one called smite, and smite is something that will be used a lot in jungle lanes. Now here you see I have in game I have a Q, a W, and an E, and I start at level 1. As I progress into the game, these will I will level up and get more. At the start of the game, there's a shop right here, and this is where you get items. Items are very important in the game because that's how you get builds. Now, minding you now, since I am streaming at the same time, I my frames are probably gonna drop on here, but as you can see at the start, let me just start. You start at level 1, and as the game progresses, you're gonna level up. You're at level 1, and you're gonna reach level 18 as the highest level. You don't Most games you don't end at 18, but um the game's gonna go on, and as you can see right here, you have gold. Gold is very important to have in the game. You may be wondering why I'm attacking this, but for jungle, it's important that we get these things called buffs, and buffs is kind of what we have in order to function in a sense, because we are gonna level up slower than everyone else. Because you see these little guys, they're gonna attack those little guys, or they're just gonna fight. Ideally, you don't want to fight. You just want to quote farm, and farm is the killing of other minions, like they're doing in that middle lane. And that's what I'm doing. I'm in the jungle and I farm as well. I'm just going to kill little things in the jungle to try and level up. And I also get gold from this. As you can see, I'm level 2 now, and now you get my second ability. You could level up your abilities as you each time you level up, you could level up an ability as well. So it's very important that you do so when you play into the game. See, right now I'm a little too weak to go and try and attack someone, and I have my Q, my W, my E, but was always active is my passive. My passive is my ability that's just gonna somewhat stay active all the time. And that passive is something that can't be turned off because some certain things trigger it. Like for example, with this character, every so often instead of one hit, I do two, and that's why I said I had wrong runes because this person, even though he has a small health pool, he gets a lot of hits in, and that's very important for games like these. Now, the main use of jungle is what I'm doing here is called a gank. And this is basically you go and help out the other lanes every now and then. So you go hit them around a bit and you just run back into the jungle and go farm again. So, like our top lane, for example, seems to be struggling a bit. So we're probably gonna have to help him eventually. But what this game lacks, in my opinion, first off, is music. Uh, music is very lackluster, and this tune that you hear right now is the only one that you're gonna hear unless certain things happen. And in most cases, the music is not going to change. And it's kind of just gonna stay like this for the majority of the game. And there's honestly nothing I can do about it. So now it's important to do this thing called recalling, like what I just did. And recalling basically gives me, in a sense, a reset, a fresh health pool to where I'll be able to go and go back with a fresh start. So I get more health. This little bar at the bottom called mana. And mana is important because you can't do stuff without mana. But music in this game is very lackluster. And there is a lot of things that should be fixed. Certain as bugs or well, this game isn't as buggy, but on the Mac, like this one, it's not gonna have much response to certain things. So that's why I'm only running the recording software and it's going so slow. So that's one problem. But I think that's just a problem with the Mac itself. So I guess I really can't get on the game too much about that. So it's not its fault. But music is definitely one thing. This game does have a story, but the story lies within the books of it. They're not even books, you could say. You can mostly call them comics, of course, but there isn't really much story to this game, in my opinion. And and it's not that good of a story. They kind of just update it every now and then, and it, I I can't defend it to make it sound any shape or form of good, to be honest. But I think all in all, the game is good. The competitive session is what really made this game popular, and yeah, that's the only reason why it's popular because LCS makes a lot of money, and that's the only reason why it makes money. LCS is a major esports event, and if you don't know, esports is a very big deal when it comes to games like this. And for them to have, uh, see what he's doing is popping all and all, having an all, like how I said earlier that we are gonna level up slower. Like he's on 8 and we're on 5. And our jungle, yeah, he's also on 5, but everyone else is leveled up higher. So our game is gonna move in a sense a lot slower than theirs, and there's honestly nothing we could do about it. But just had to catch up. So there is such thing as an early game in this game. Early game is, well, as it sounds, the early game, and well, some characters they struggle early game, but late game they're amazing. And I think I would consider this one as one of those characters. But I don't have the right runes, so I don't even know if I can make that statement. But certain characters have certain perks or what makes them good. Like for me, it's the fact that I hit a lot in a short period of time. For someone like him, he makes one or two hits, but he can make you bleed, and that does a lot of damage over time. So, like I said earlier, it's kind of just whatever play styles that you want to have, and it just all depends on who you pick. And this is where I was going about with that role thing I said earlier, because people don't want to admit that there are set roles, but people do have set roles, and and it really is a shame that they're kind of stuck in this little loop of okay, they could do this, but you really can't, or vice versa. But eh, I think that I think that the game is okay with that, and there are updates made to give it more flexibility at times. But honestly, the game is very linear and very straightforward. If you want to pick it up, I think it's easy to pick up, and I think it's a good game all around. There are certain things or characters that will make me mad to play against, and that's just matchups in itself. So honestly, there's nothing I could do. But certain characters, even though they are called OP, they're not. OP means overpowered, but they're they're quote unquote broken in a sense of there's no real way to deal with it. That's what broken really means in this game, that there's no way to deal with it yet. And another problem that this community has, you could say, is with making new characters, because all of their new characters have the problem of being broken, and no one can really deal with it, and it just has to get patched later on. But while that moment of when they first come out, no one can deal with it at all. So people start ranting and they call the game bad. And in that short moment, it really is because, well, nothing to deal with it. And a game that people see something broken, like, it's a game that's not fun. And of course, you're not going to want to play a game that's not fun. So we're in this continuous cycle of, is it good? Is it bad? Can we fix this? Can we not? And the game developers, they're they're somewhat involved with their community. Not as involved as other games I could really think of, but they are involved with their community and they listen to them. So that's one thing I do appreciate about the League of Legends community. The community themselves, it's not like one of those toxic communities where everyone is just messes over the other person. But I think that certain members, they should take certain things not as serious. Like, for example, people treat this every game mode as ranked in certain cases, and even though it's, of course, it's not ranked. And if you're gonna take something that's not ranked seriously to the point where, well, and to put it in short terms, it's kind of just ridiculous how seriously people take it when you're just with casual and normal games. And I guess you could say that's how people act towards a multitude of games, but there's honestly nothing that we could do. And we're kind of just stuck at this standstill to where, yeah, we can enjoy it, but at the same time, we really can't. But yeah, I think it deserves a pass. But honestly, I think I've told about all I really can with this game. But I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you go out and try it. This is Walker's Reviews, and I'm out.